Ladies and gentlemen, good evening. Tonight we're going to look at Spring Boot and OpenAI and how to get started. It is very easy. So first of all, you have to create an account. It's very cheap, but you have to create an account and fill in. I just added like $10. And I've definitely not used it yet because if you look at the pricing model just before we started, so you don't get scared, then it costs a little bit. Tokens when you're talking about AI, then a token, that is a word. So you have input tokens and you have output tokens. So input tokens, those are the tokens that we write. So it means that if I write a question, or maybe I want to create something, I want to generate something creative, like a poet or a verse or a song or something like that. Then I can make a question and a definition of what I want. Like I want a song that includes love or something like that. Then the number of words I use to phrase that is the input tokens right here. And you can see right here that we use it costs $0.5, half a dollar for 1 million tokens, for 1 million input tokens right here, but output it costs $1.50 for 1 million tokens, and you can kind of get a feeling of how many tokens that we're using just by looking at this example right here. So first of all, I'm using GPT-3.5 Turbo. That's because it's cheaper than number 4, and it's still awesome. It's really, really good. But of course, if you want something that is a bit more specific and a bit more advanced and that knows more stuff, so the difference is that the number 4 right here, number 4, it knows more and it can kind of contain more context, if you will. So, but to begin with, when you just want to try out stuff, then definitely GPT-3.5 is really good and is enough just to get started right here. I've added $10 and I cannot see the expense yet. Of course, I'm also running test projects. Okay, so how do we get started? First of all, you go to platform.openai.com. You have to create an account. You can just use your Google account, and then you have an account after that. It does not cost anything to create an account. It costs a bit when you want to use the API, and that is exactly what we want to do right here. And we want to use Spring Boot in this situation. You can use any API because it's just in quotes. It's a cool REST API interface, and the documentation is awesome. But it's made for Python usually. So it's made for Python, but you also get the curl command. So let's go up to the beginning right here. It explains how to use pip install. So it is Python that is kind of the default language when you are playing with AI and machine learning. That's just how it is. Also in the old days when you're playing with TensorFlow or PyTorch, then it was also for Python. So there's a lot of legacy and a lot of history that combines Python and also AI. And it's also because data scientists, they really love Python because it's in a language that is easy to understand, easy to get started with. So, but we want to use Spring Boot, we want to use Java, so we are Java developers. So right here, we're only interested in the curl command. So this is a curl command where we can see the available models, and that's of course the one we could start with implementing. And then we have a more advanced one, the more fun one right here, where we actually create some real requests, where we post some data, like which model do we want to use, and what kind of content do we want it to generate. So with AI, we have generative AIs and we also have predictive AIs. The predictive AIs, those are the image classifiers, for instance, or if you play a small tune from a song, then the predictive AIs, then they can actually predict which song is it. So those are the two versions, and we are going to play with generative AIs right here, and it's text AIs. It's not audio, it's not video. I probably will make other videos with audio and video generations later on. So we need to give the model, we need to give the message, and there's something like the role, and the role will always be user when we want to post something, and then inside the response, the answer will always be assistant. So we have role user and role assistant right here, and those are that is fixed for at least this demonstration right here. The content right here, we will try to play with some content. Instead of writing this as a test, we will try to make it generate a poet about me as a hero, And then there's something called a temperature. The temperature, that is how random this the response can be. It's a number between 0 and 2. And the higher the number is, the more random it is, and the more what you would say, the more impulsive, the more what's a good word for it? It's the more it will feel free to kind of generate something that is not totally related to what we wrote. It will improvise much more. That is how high the number is. It's how creative it will be. Yeah, creative, that was the word I was looking for. So this is the creativity number right here. If you want it to be very specific, strict to what you actually told it to be, then you would lower this temperature number right here, and you will get a different response depending on the temperature right here. So there's no like fixed solution for any question that you will give it. Okay, so with that in mind, or in that tune, let us look at let us see how we actually get started. We have created an account, so now we have an account. Then you have to create a project. So you go and you create a project, and then you go and add a service account member. I've created a service account right here. You get a default project, but just if I were you, I'll create one project. I've created a project right here named Mike. You can just create your own project. You don't have to name it Mike, but thank you if you do. And then you will add a member, and this member should be a service account. You will get a key for this service account. Save that key because you need it in all of your requests. And when you have this service account, then let's say that you actually leaked the key somehow. Then you can just delete the service account, and you can create a new service account, and then you can use the new key there. So, and that is very important because you are being built for the requests, of course. You also have an organization, so you have something called an organization. You have a project. And you need the ID for both of those if you want to get a list of all of the available models. And you also have this service account API ID. You can also create an API ID per project. That is also possible. It's just up to you. I prefer service accounts instead of just having a project API key. But that is totally up to you and your use case, of course. Okay, so what do we do? I've set my keys as environment variables, so I'm not exposing it in the code. So let us look at the first one right here. I created the Spring Boot project by pressing File, New Project right here, and then I chose Spring Initializer. I chose Java 21. And I left Gradle as per default, and then I pressed next. Then I added web, Spring Web right here. I added Lombok, I added H2, and I added the APA. I'm not using that right now, the H2 and the APA, but I just added it anyways if I need a database at some point. Okay, so the first service we have right here, that is where we are getting the models. And the way that I created this was just by looking at the curl request that we got from the documentation. So if I go to the reference right here, and I scroll here, then I get a curl reference right here. We have some headers that we have to fill out: authorization, OpenAI organization, and also the project. And that is a GET request. So when you don't see anything besides this, then it's a GET request. So that was the first one I created. So let us just see how that went. Or let us look at the code. There's a URL, of course, first. And then we have a request entity. I'm using the REST template right here, REST template. And we are using the URL right there. Then we're creating the headers right here. And the headers are created down here just so better can get a good overview of it. They're all defined as system variables, so they're not exposed in the code. And then we just run the REST template and then exchange. Mike, don't you have a nice unit test that can prove that this works? Yes, very good question. Of course, I have that right here. So let us run the test of the Git models right now. I've created this as a Spring Boot test right here. I'm auto-wiring in my two services. I have one for the real request, and then I have one for getting a list of models. So here we have the list of models right here. So this is the return type right here. And then we get all of the models right here. We have a Whisper 1, DALI, that's something with images. And then we have the 3.5 Turbo. And then we have a lot of models right here. We also have GPT-4 Turbo. The one that we want to use right now is 3.5 Turbo right here. So this is the model. Okay, so that's quite cool. Now we know that actually that everything works. We have the correct information. We have the correct project ID. We have the correct organization ID. We have the correct service account API token. Or no, it's not a token, but API key. We actually don't need all that. We only need the service account key if we want some answers, and that is exactly what we want now. So here we have the ChatGPT-3, and here we can say, here we have a method, try GPT-3. It takes a question as an argument. And here we have the data to post. It needs the model. In our situation, we will hardcode this to GPT-3.5 Turbo. Then we have something called named messages. And this is because we can actually add multiple messages. So you don't have to only have one message right here. You can actually have multiple pieces of message. So we have one role, one user right here. Then we have one piece of content. But you could actually add multiple pieces of content right here. And then you can see the difference on your response right there. So then we put the temperature, and right now we have now it has a value of 0.7. Of course, we can also set it to 0.9 and see if it gets more abstract or if it gets more creative. And then we have the request that's being generated right here. Now it's a post. It's a HTTP post message that we're creating, and we are taking the headers from this method up here. And again, it only uses the API key, nothing more. Authorization, bearer, and then the key right there. It also needs a content to know that the content type is JSON, application JSON, right here. Okay, very cool, Mike. But let us try to see it work. Okay, so I've already prepared a test right here. Try GPT-3. Here we have here we say write a poem about the moon, where the hero is Mike. Where the hero is Mike. What more? And he writes a bike. So that is our question right now. Let us see what happens now. What kind of response did we get? Mike, okay, here it is. It is. I can already feel that this is pretty. This is a beautiful poet already. And of course, you can configure how many tokens should be returned. And tokens is just words. It's a fancy word for token is a fancy word for word. And it's just because then you know that now you're talking to AI people, and then you can Then of course then you can feel a bit special now that you are inside the club. You know that a token is a word. So then we have the response.txt right here. So here we have the response, and I'll just make it so we can actually read it. So Mike pedaled his bike under the moon's soft glow. His trusty steed carried him wherever he'd go. Through shadowed streets and quiet lanes, his heart filled with the moon's gentle rain. The silver orb above watched over him, guiding his path with a soft celestial hymn. Its ethereal light, a comforting guide. As Mike rode through the night, he no need to hide. With each turn on his pedals, he felt free. A sense of liberation, pure ecstasy. The moon whispered secrets in his ear. Its calming presence erasing any fear. Mike was a hero under the moon's watchful eye, a lone ride in the midfull sky. His bike, a faithful companion, his escape from the chaos and noise from the everyday tape. So he rode on under the moon's guiding light, a hero on two wheels, a silent night. I like this part here, a silent night. Maybe a noisy night instead. With the moon as his ally, he soared high in the quiet stillness of the night sky. It is very, very beautiful. Feel free to spread this poet, and feel free to read it once in a while to yourself, and feel free, feel free to use this poet in any way. It is really, it's beautiful. It's incredible what AI can do and can generate. Yes, I have tears in my eyes right now. So I guess, was there anything else I want to say? Then we have to do it now. Of course, we will try to provide it with a list also. Let us try to provide it with a list. So instead of try GPT right here, we will actually create a list of strings. So here we say a list of, list, and then of course the generic type is string. Right here, and then we have the questions, and then we say, questions.map. Now we need to map this into, and here we have each string is now mapped, map of, and then this string right here. And then we say dot collect, need to, okay, this is the end of this, and this is the end of this. Then we say collect to list. Thank you very much. Yes, I think this is it actually. Okay. Now let us add something more. So instead of just this one right here, then we will now have a list of strings. So we'll say list of, and list of. So this should still be the first string. Then we'll try to give it another string also. Mike trips in a banana peel. Add to the story that Mike trips in a banana peel. Let's see if we can do this. Let us just see if we can do this. And we should have lowered the temperature, shouldn't we? I don't know, or maybe the temperature is okay. Let us just try it out. So we will see now what is the response right here. Again, here we have the response. Just 1 minute. Regarding the response right here, you can see here we have the prompt tokens, 40 tokens, and the completion tokens. That means the response tokens is here we have 176 tokens. So this goes against our limit and our billing. So yeah, we had that 1 million input tokens for $0.50 and 1 million output tokens for $1.50. That is what is being counted right here. Okay, but let us now let us try to look at the response now after we have added some stuff, and then again we will say replace all. Yes, look what happens now, because now we added multiple pieces of content, and we can actually already see here right here in the second part, the second section right here. But Fate had other plans that Eve, as Mike wrote on without reprieve, a banana peel lay in his way, and down he fell without a delay. See now, of course, it's not beautiful as it was before. It was so beautiful that I almost got tears in my eyes. But now it is funny. It will lighten up the mood. It's kind of could be a good way to start a job interview maybe. It's funny, and if you wrote something like this to one of your school teachers, probably they would have been very proud of you. And it's still cool. The moon. What happened then? Okay, I'm a bit curious now, because now we fell in the banana peel without delay. What happened then? The moon looked down and softly sighed. Yeah. For poor Mike and his bike untied, but with a twinkle in her eye, she whispered, "Rise, you'll touch the sky." This is really, really good, and it's also I like the the idea behind this and the morale in this poet right here. The Mike, he will get up again, and he will then touch the sky afterwards. He's not just falling. It's okay. He fell without delay. That's fine. But then he will also touch the sky after, or at least that's what the moon says. There's a lot of content inside this story right here. The moon would guide him evermore. Yes, thank you very much, moon. And then he rises. He rises anew, with the moon as his hero. True. Yes, this is a really good story. It ends well. He rises anew. He does not stay down. He rises anew, and the moon thinks he will he will touch the sky. We don't know because we're limited to this number of tokens right now. So maybe we could increase the number of tokens, then we could get the ending of the story. Or we could actually ask ChatGPT to write the ending of this poet, or write a new ending for this story, because there could be more to it. It could be a sequel, maybe. We could actually ask it to, please, here's the input. This is my poet. Please write a sequel to this first version of the poet. There are so many opportunities with AI. You will never be bored, and especially using the API. Of course, you could also go and use the web UI and then type in these things there. But now we are Java developers and we are playing with Spring Boot, so of course that is much more fun to go through the REST API. I think I have spoken enough right now. Thank you very much for watching. Have a great evening and hope to see you again soon. Bye bye.